Wednesday is a great day for lots of people and it promises to be productive. Hello and welcome to another session here on Joy News Interactive, on Joy News on Multi TV. We're also live on DSTV channel 421, Go TV channel 144. Lots of things to discuss here on the show, and this is the show where we get to read your comments. Just send them through to us. Log on to Facebook, look for Joy News on TV, and leave your comments on our posts. I am Ms. G, the Entertainment General. Let's get the show started. Now, first on the bill is the back and forth about the whereabouts of some helicopters belonging to the Ghana Gas Project. Now, the Public Interest and Accountability Committee has described the whereabouts of these choppers as a mystery because the committee cannot tell whether the helicopters have been delivered or are missing. A member of the committee, Dr. Stephen Mantel, said on a Ado FM's morning show Drassens Tuesday that he had asked the whereabouts of the helicopters, but there are no answers forthcoming. According to him, the management of the Ghana Gas at Atuabo in the Western region expressed surprise about the purchase of helicopters, especially as there is no helipad there. But we know the helicopters were duly commissioned by the former president John Dramani Mahama in 2015. This is trending on social media. So we sought to take your view, and Isaac says, Ghana is an interesting place to live. Oh, please, God, if there is any reincarnation, please bring me back to Ghana. Why? The helicopters are flying inside some people's pockets. They are working silently for Ghana. And Benjamin Bureau says, at least if for nothing at all, do your own investigation before you put the story. I think we have done, we're following up on the story. We've done quite an extensive interview on that. And the planes were commissioned and handed over to the Ghana Air Force. Unless the Air Force will say that the helicopters are missing, then there is the other issue that, let's see some more on that, the helicopters are overpriced. Really, a military helicopter, and you compare it with a civil one, they are not built the same way. How can you price a military helicopter without looking at the payload and capabilities? I know the capabilities of these crafts are classified because of the nature of the work they are supposed to do. And Don Julio says, a whole machine like helicopters missing, and it's a mystery. Ghana, people should take us for serious just for once. Why must it be a mystery when people who were to buy them are still in Ghana? And is it that they can't be asked or what? Please ask them. And they say they've been asking questions, but there are no answers forthcoming. Big lies. And us is saying, go to the army forces premises and you see 3 helicopters there. Now, Zontonto says, hey, this MPP people just want to destroy the former government. Why? I now understand. And you're asking if this is news, but it is trending, so therefore it's news. And Albert Ortin says, and we cried for carrying money to Brazil, a country where money can disappear in the air. Laugh out loud. And I'm surprised this Ananta story is receiving publication from like-minded people. And Ghanaians are not feeble-minded to believe this story. Shame unto you, okay? And God's plan says Bernardo is delaying ASU. Where is the Special Prosecution Committee? And haters will say it's fake news. Really, from Sani. And shameless thieves, Ni Akwete Aye is saying, and interesting times ahead, Prince Nuruddin Baumia post. And Adam says, ignorance. Okay, this is definitely not ignorance. We quoted an interview that was on the Drassens program with our sister station Ado FM, so we have facts on the issue. Now, still on such issues, and the Bureau of National Investigation (BNI) is investigating some top officials of the Mahama administration for allegedly taking $4 million from the accounts of the National Communications Authority and failing to account for it. Disclosing this in an interview, an exclusive one for that matter, with the Joy FM Super Morning Show host Kojo Yankson, Information Minister Mustafa Hamid said the three officials, Eugene Bafo-Boni, former board chairman of the National Communications Authority, William Tevi, former executive officer of the NCA, and Alhaji Osman, former Deputy National Security Coordinator, were aided by a private citizen, George Opong, to engage in the act. According to him, the previous administration had contracted an Israeli company, NSO Group Technology Limited, to supply listening equipment at a cost of $6 million to enable the authorities monitor conversations of persons suspected to engage in terror activities. So we asked on Facebook, how do you feel when you hear such stories? And Shugome says, boring. The people are around us, so what is preventing you from inviting them to answer? It clearly shows how confused the MPP is. And Osei says, I get upset. I'm sure you say upset or upset, and sometimes wish the military intervention would execute all such people and the assets and accounts confiscated to serve as a deterrent to others who would have ideas of such. And before he says very, very and extremely angry, and MPP arrest them all and feel happy. Rough. I'm not sure you mean that. And Kudoji says the sweat of 5 years old trickling kilometers to sit under trees for education. We invoke bad karma on such people. Ghanaians, when you pray, say a prayer for such people. We don't need them. Africa's issues is just a matter of compassion, conscience, and selflessness. The era of me, myself, and my family only must be over. Where are the generational thinkers? I am baffled, and I feel heartbroken. Okay, so I feel we should stop practicing democracy in Ghana and practice one-party state and the one serious dictatorship. And Maxwell says he feels mad about it, and I beg, let's make we hear what. So no, the BNI go do small time, then the case go die. The BNI has never achieved anything for the nation, always inviting people, and that's the opinion of tools. And Zibram says, I wish I was never a Christian. I don't value most of the big men in Ghana, since majority of them are criminally abusing or stealing from us to make their families comfortable. Mashoud Abiola says, I will just see it as another Joy News story. This is a national story, not a Joy News story anyway. And we should give every government appointee that has squandered money mass burials. And Kwabena J says they should be investigated very well and be allowed to cough every kobo chopped and jail anyone found culpable. Pure and intelligent, free. And Sad says Evan Gansa, is the NDC people sects of witches and wizards or what? I don't understand that. And very disheartening and heartbreaking. And if this continues, the poor and destitute will be awakened someday with terror, and Ghana as a nation will fail. Imagine if this is to happen in countries like Libya, Egypt, etc. What might happen? And thieves got punished, okay, and independent prosecutors or Atamwa is calling for them, and I can't wait for the apology Omolele is saying. And their boss was not different from some of his corrupt appointees, Rexford Apia is saying, and the money should be retrieved first and they should be jailed. And that's from Brentford Ibois. And Brocco says, I feel ashamed as a Ghanaian. Fee-free is their trademark. And Gerald says, feel good, these big thieves get off the hook of jail whilst plantain and cassava stealers are jailed. Simply because the rule of law of Ghana only applies to the poor, wicked people, you were saying. And God's plan says, I feel disappointed in Anado and his party. They promised us that anyone who misused Ghanaians' money would be jailed, but when they got into power, they've kept quiet. Your 2020 is around the corner. You are reminding them, and you miss us, Joy News. We also miss you. And I always regret being a Ghanaian, Solomon Yewa says. Arrest them and prosecute them, Danny Warren says. And jail, Abba, these thieves, lame horse tactics. And good men are easily destroyed by the NDC through corruption. And I can count a number of innocent, God-fearing men that shunned corrupt practices that became corrupt under the leadership of John Dramani Mahama. Wow. And so I was happy because the rule of law is at work from Kwame Boateng. So lots of messages from you on this particular issue. We'll see how the issue pans out. Now, some say he's been the busiest minister in the Akufo-Addo administration so far. He started a war to end Galamsey, and an act that has led to the destruction of our water bodies. In fact, he's trending. Let's see the picture of the said minister who is trending on social media, both Twitter and Facebook. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, John Peter Amewo. Whenever I see this man, it reminds me of Kukua, who says John Pierre Amewo, or John Peter Amewo. And Prince of Pokomeno says, yes, it is. We can't lose all our water bodies in the name of small-scale mining. When there is shortage of water, we will come and blame the government. We have to think about the future and perhaps the lives we lose in Galamsey. I support the action 100%, and sure it is, however, he shouldn't become complacent. We believe in him and we will pray he does better. More oil for you, sir. The Galamsey must stop. And yeah, upon all the ministers, it seems he's the only one working. Oh, Michael Osei is saying, so far so good. They are doing well, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And Galamsey, hashtag Galamsey must stop for sure. We support you very well. Go high, honorable. And the guy is a top bloke. And of course, it is in the right direction, Prince Dean Baumia says. And yes, that is the right way to go. So he should keep up. And Brimer says, somehow, but it's still early days yet, you were saying. And he deserves far more than this. Something like that, but not really. And yes, it is. Kofi is saying. So a lot of people say that John Peter Amewo, who is a Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, is doing quite well with the fight against Galamsey. We'll take a break. When we're back, there's so more to come here on Joy News Interactive. Please stay. Now to another interesting story. Comparison. Who is better than who? Miss V is being compared to Ebony. So it's Miss V versus Ebony. And the question is, who is a better dancehall act? And that was posted on Facebook by Adum TV. And we thought to share with you. So let's see what your reactions have been. And Kwame Morgan says they're all talented in different ways according to how God has designed them. Okay, so never compare this to Miss V is 1,000,000 times ahead of the other girl. And Gideon says they're doing something else, not dancehall. The only female dancehall artiste in Africa is Cynthia Morgan. So we are narrowing it to Ghana. And is dancehall the only music in Ghana? Both the patois sounds fake and forced. That's what you were saying. And Ifya says, I don't think Miss V is a dancehall artist because she doesn't do dancehall music. And why only this two? Anyway, Miss V is ahead of Ebony. Miss V is ahead of Ebony, but now Ebony too is trying, especially with her track Poison. And Miss V is better than Ebony, but Kaki is the queen of African dancehall. So somebody thinks it's Kaki, other person said it was Cynthia Morgan. And Miss V is not a dancehall artist. Which song? Ebony, you do more big ups to you Babs. And is Miss V a dancehall artist? Bila is asking. And Ebony is the best female dancehall artist, Kodo says. And none of them is a dancehall artist. Is Miss V a dancehall artist? The realist is asking. And A isn't a dancehall artiste. I'm sure you're referring to Miss V. And please, Miss V is not a dancehall artiste. None of them does dancehall, please. And then Aita says Miss V. And I says Kaki, but Kaki is not in the shots. I don't know why you're referring to Kaki. And B says B has the bad girl spirit to dance hall. Says Amwakun. I'm sure that is Ebony. And B is the filler. Says Sams. And I don't know Martin is saying. And Victoria says Ebony. Sapon says B, which is Ebony. Ebony. And A does R&B. Says Gina. I'm saying that Miss V does R&B and Miss V all the way. Says Martino. And Matilda says B. My own Miss V, fantastic, is saying. And what's the name, please? Okay, so it's Miss V versus Ebony, and there is no question at all. And Gago says Miss V. Honorably Chi says Ebony. Miss V via B, Ebony is going to go places, and Pepper says Ebony, Chaka says Ebony, and Samoa says he prefers A, which is Miss V, and you are also mentioning Kaki, and it's clear Miss V says Isaac, and Miss V is the best Davi latest track, and that's one of the tracks on the Miss V album, and Jessie says Ebony, and Miss V, Ebony says Priscilla, Ebony baby, Miss V is a champion, Dufe says, and Ebony 100% the queen, and Blackson says Miss V. So some people think that Miss V is a better artist than Ebony. Others think that Ebony is new but is doing a lot. So everybody's entitled to their choices. Then I guess they need to do some choices track in this case. But later tonight, Manchester United will seek to enter the UEFA Champions League with a victory over Ajax Amsterdam in their finals in the 2017 Europa League. Let's do some analysis. Benedict Owusu will join me. Is he going to be joining us via Skype? Is Benedict going to join us? Okay, so let's first read your comments on Facebook and then we'll come back to Benedict. So the aim of the United is to enter the Champions League and not to lift the Europa Cup. Was it the same drive that motivated them to play Europa? And I really loved United, Keke. Wow, check the red color cry. If the United lose this match, change my name to Aisha One. And United says Adia Ayas will win, says Stephen. And somebody's tagging a friend. So I hear that this means a lot to both teams, and that anybody who gets to win qualifies for the next season of the Champions League. And so that's why, is it the Champions League or the UEFA Champions League? Okay, and so that's why everybody is interested in qualifying for this. So let's see what happens later tonight. But Benedict joins me, he's a colleague on the sports desk, joins me over the phone on Skype, and we are going to have a discussion about today's match, Manchester United versus Ajax Amsterdam. Hello, Benedict, if you can hear me, how are you doing?
Yes, Miss G, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Benedict. So there's a lot of buzz around this game today because one of the teams that qualified gets into the season of the Champions League. Is that it?
Exactly. This was initiated by UEFA last season. Remember when Liverpool was in the finals with Sevilla? It was the same thing that Liverpool fans were talking about. They were hoping that Liverpool will win that game and not get to the UEFA Champions League. For Manchester United, you know, this season they couldn't finish the top four of the Premier League, so they see this as the only opportunity to get into the UEFA Champions League, and that's the reason why everywhere you go, people are talking about this game. It is a big deal. Normally, when it comes to UEFA Champions League matches, UEFA Europa League matches, you don't get people talk much about it, but looking at how Manchester United so eager to get into the UEFA Champions League.
But who do you think stands a better chance? Of course, that's what everybody is looking at. Who do you think stands a better chance of winning this game?
But in terms of who win the game on paper, better when you see Manchester United, because the credibility, they won every trophy there is to win, with the exception of the Europa League. For Ajax Amsterdam, they are doing very well when it comes to playing in competitions of this nature and also in their domestic competitions. But they are also here for the first time. But on paper, when you see Manchester United, look at the caliber of players they have. They are on planet for Pogba. It's there. Last time Ibrahimovic, unfortunately, is not going to play expecting that Ajax Amsterdam also have
some great players. But
yeah,
as a sports journalist, who do you tip to win the game? Forget about what is on paper. Tell me what's on your mind. Your prediction.
Well, it'll be very, very tight. But I think Manchester United will.
By how many goals so that I can come for you when it doesn't happen?
In terms of goals, I'm unable to tell, but I feel that Manchester United. But I'm not entirely ruling out Ajax Amsterdam.
So you think that Manchester United stands a better chance, and you won't tell me how many goals they would win by?
You don't normally in finals, you don't expect to see more goals in finals.
Just a goal or two, right?
Yeah, a goal or two, or probably maybe 2-1.
All right.
It will be very, very tight.
It will be very, very tight, says Benedict Obusu. Thank you very much for joining us over Skype, my colleague Benedict Obusu. But it's time for me to say bye to you, but of course, we get to see the video of the day when I'm gone. There's more news here on Joy News channel on Multi TV. Join me later in the evening on the Joy News Prime with entertainment segments. I'll see you later. My name is Miss G. Have a fantastic morning.